for participating today. I thank you all for your interest in Uzbekistan. And first of all, on behalf of the State Committee of the Republic of Uzbekistan for Tourism Development, let me express my great appreciation to you, to the embassy, for all of you for organizing today's event, as well as for representatives of tourism industry of USA and Canada for their time, for their allocated time during these difficult times. As you all know, tourism, along with many important sectors, more than ever needs solidarity, cohesion, and mutual support in order to overcome the current crisis. I would like to inform you that with the beginning of the pandemic, the government of Uzbekistan took immediate and strict measures of quarantine and self-isolation to control the spread of COVID-19, which has kept the number of, which was the reason that number of infected in Uzbekistan was among the lowest in the region. Today, the number of cases, infected cases in Uzbekistan is around, is a little more than 7,000, and the number of people that have recovered has reached nearly 5,000. And we have, fortunately, we have the lowest levels of death rate, with only 19 people died because of the pandemic. Well, the coronavirus pandemic has seriously affected the global tourism and travel industry. It was the same for Uzbekistan. I have to mention that we have been experiencing a serious boom in tourism. The number of arrivals increased more than 3 times during the last 3 years, with little over 2 million people visiting in 2016. In 2019, we received 6.7 million arrivals. Unfortunately, this significant improvement in tourism was halted this year, and we are seeing, well, the industry stopped from mid of March receiving tourists. Most countries have implemented extensive incentive programs to revitalize the tourism industry. So same was for Uzbekistan. In this regard, the priority task of the country was to support tourism business and preserve jobs and source of income for people. Tourism industry employs more than 300,000 people in Uzbekistan. In this regard, an important document was a decree of the President of the Republic, Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, dated May 28th, which was named on urgent measures to support the tourism sector and to reduce the negative impact of the coronavirus pandemic. This document provided a wide range of benefits and support measures for all participants in the tourism industry. In general, we can divide the document into 3 main areas. So the first main area being the fiscal measures, that included 50% reduction in the income tax by the end of, till the end of 2020 for tourism players, provision of customs tariff privileges for importing goods during the realization of tourism projects. And we have also suspended tourism tax payment until January 1st, 2021. The second block included the support for businesses regarding credit and some financial measures. The very important part of it, I could say that it is a prolongation of principal debt on previously issued loans for hotel construction from 18 to 24 months. It is important to note that with the development of tourism sector and the increase in arrivals, we have seen a significant demand for hotel rooms. Subsequently, our businessmen, which were basically active in other sectors, have started moving into tourism. So we were seeing a lot of projects financed by local businessmen in hotel sector, so in hotel and hospitality sector. And it is very important that these businesses or entrepreneurs do not leave tourism. They continue their project. They continue to construct hotels. So in this regard, the prolongation of debt is a very important measure. government also approved provision of interest-free loans to support the businesses in terms of paying salaries and as a support for operational capital. Subsidization of interest rates on previously granted loans of up to 10% was also important measure. The third block includes subsidies and grants. We have been providing subsidies for hotel construction, but additionally, with this decree, the decree includes reimbursement of hotel expenses for renovation, reconstruction to obtain or upgrade the categories from $500 to $1,500 per room. This includes for hotels that upgrade their categories from, let's say, from 2 stars to 3 stars, from 3 to 4, from 4 to 5. It also includes grants for our tour operators, $15 per tourist when they bring a tourist. So the government will pay $15 for each tourist. And it also includes compensation of rail and air tickets of up to 30% and other measures. So there are other measures which are very similar to some measures being practiced in European and American continent. Special attention is devoted to close work with foreign partners. So we in a fight against pandemic, we have been collaborating with UNWTO and other international institutions. We just yesterday, Samarkand hosted a virtual meeting of UNWTO Commission for Europe. Unfortunately, we had to, we were expecting our guests to be present in Samarkand, the gem of Central Asia, but we still organized a virtual conference from Registan Square, and hopefully next year we will receive our partners. We have also discussed COVID-19 related issues with European Association of National Travel Agencies, tour operators, travel associations of Korea, Japan, and today we are talking to you, and it will be interesting to know your opinions as well. Besides that, we have resumed domestic tourism from 1st of June, and we have resumed international flights starting from 15th of June. However, I have to note that the quarantine period has been extended till August, but still we have resumed flights, international flights. We have divided the countries according to 3 color categories, depending on the situation with the pandemic. So green flights are from the countries where the the situation is relatively stable and safe. So this includes mostly Asian countries and the countries which have seen little, the rate of infection was not very significant. So the yellow flights are organized from countries where with decreasing rates of infection, but citizens of these countries or the tourist travelers arriving from these countries have to undergo 2-week self-isolation at home or at a place of their choice. Under red flags, these are countries where unfortunately pandemic or coronavirus situation is not as good as we would like to be, and they will have to be placed on 14-day mandatory quarantine. Obviously, the situation in each individual country is constantly monitored, and the requirements and the, let's say, color categories are updated constantly. We have a special commission headed by the Prime Minister, commission which issues decrease nearly every day depending on the situation. So it is an active and live, let's say, job. So it can be possible that some country will soon change from yellow to green or from red to yellow. Today, obviously, we have begun discussions with countries with whom we can organize green flights. US is at the moment in our categories under red. As I mentioned, it can be changed quite quickly depending on the situation. Together with our embassy, we are monitoring the spread of infection, and as the situation improves and stabilizes, appropriate decisions will be made to change the category. We understand that while resuming the international tourism, security is a top priority. So in this regard, there was another decree of the president on additional measures to develop tourism while strictly observing the requirements of enhanced regime of sanitary epidemiological security. Just recently, on 19th of June, it was adopted taking into account new realities, new requirements for the process of organizing tourism and leisure, and it aims to create safe conditions for domestic and inbound tourism. With this document, we have introduced a new system of sanitary and epidemiologic safety. We called it Uzbekistan Safe Travel Guaranteed. It is designed to become a kind of airbag for foreign tourists. And the project is designed taking into account the latest medical advances and developments. We have analyzed the experience of other countries that have adopted similar programs. So under this program, the safe destinations, safe hotels, safe cultural monuments would be registered. So it will be one register where each object, let's say tourism object, will be acknowledged, and it will be a special certification system where safety of tourism facilities and infrastructure will be mandatory for all state-owned objects. That includes airports, railways, bus stations, historical cultural sites, museums, theaters, and others. At the same time, the government will compensate all the costs of sanitary works that are required under this certification system for our entrepreneurs and business. All objects included in the inventory will receive support for their required work. Tour operators, hotels, and all those associated with the tourism industry will have to go through the special certification if they want to work with foreign tourists. So this way we want to ensure the safety of tourists. The government has also created a safe tourism fund. The source of funding is from state budget, and we have to note that we have to note that this fund will compensate up to $3,000 if foreign tourists will be infected with coronavirus in Uzbekistan. Well, actually, we have announced this in foreign media, and fortunately, we have received good coverage. So this way, we hope that Uzbekistan will be known as a safe destination. As for the requirements to travel agencies and tourists themselves, within the system of Uzbekistan Safe Travel Guaranteed, committee has developed new instructions for foreign tourists and tour operators, which contains important measures as compliance with the rules of social distance, strict adherence to the rules of wearing masks in public places. So the number of tourist groups should not exceed 30 people. So it requires regular monitoring of health of tourists. It includes safety masks and gloves at the airport. So all these measures that have been that are being introduced all around the globe. All the good practices have been included in the system. It is no secret to you that Uzbekistan has been considered as an expensive destination by some. So it is important to reduce the average cost of travel. That's besides fighting the pandemic. So we have been, as a committee, we have been trying very hard to improve connectivity of Uzbekistan. We are the only second country that is considered double landlocked, and number of flights is not we need more flights. Basically, number of flights is not desirable as we would like to be. So from August 2020, in total 6 airports would be operating under open sky policy with 5th level of air freedom without any restrictions. Other airports of the country will also operate under open skies policy, but they will have some restrictions in terms of no competition with our national airline. So these 6 airports include Karshi Airport, Termiz Airport, Nukus Airport, and additionally Andijan, Bukhara, and Urgench airports. These all airports cover the main tourism destinations of Uzbekistan. So we are also introducing fast border crossing, fast track services at international checkpoints in Gishkoprik, Tashkent province, and Hayraton, Surkhandarya province, which borders with Tajikistan and Afghanistan. Well, we believe that the privileges and support measures, we hope, will guarantee foreign visitors to visit Uzbekistan in favorable and safe manner. And we devote particular attention to the implementation of diversifying our tourism destinations. As you know, standard tour product was travel along the historical cities of Silk Road, majority of which are in Uzbekistan. So we can state that Samarkand, Bukhara, Khiva, and Tashkent have been receiving all the burden of tourists for a long time, for nearly 25 years, but but we understand that other regions of Uzbekistan also possess a significant tourism potential, especially Fergana Valley and regions, southern regions of Uzbekistan, of Surkhandarya and Kashkadarya. In this regard, we have introduced a tourism route which connects all the corners of Uzbekistan. That is starting from Khanabad in Fergana Valley, Andijan region, to Nukus, Muynak, that's Karakalpakstan Republic, and the one branch goes till Termiz. So in this way, we hope to cover whole republic. So within this program, all the infrastructure will be updated, roads constructed, so it will improve connectivity. And along the route, we already have developed projects that aim to serve tourists. So it will not only develop roadside infrastructure, but this will become a tourism corridor with all the required tourism services being available. We are also working closely with our neighbors. As you know, during the last few years, under the new leadership of President, the country has been paying great attention to the relations with our neighbors, and we have seen a surge in trade volumes. We have seen improvement in political and diplomatic relations. So in this regard, we are closely cooperating to improve our tourism product. So we consider Central Asia as one important region for tourism in order to be able to compete with other destinations. With these countries, we share the same history, same culture, very similar even cuisines. So we have started already negotiations with our Kazakh partners from Kazakhstan to merge our tourist corridors, and we believe that this approach is beneficial to everyone. And another important decision is the development of new tourist zones in the regions, and the new concept is being promoted, which has been introduced recently. That's travel along the borders. As you know, so we called it travel along the borders, which basically requires cooperation with our neighbors, so that tourists when tourist visits Uzbekistan, he can easily pass through the border of Kyrgyzstan and to visit few countries. We have been simplifying visa procedures. We are now 86 countries, citizens of 86 countries can visit Uzbekistan without getting visas from the embassy, and we believe that this number will increase, and we are working as a tourism committee. We are working on easing the requirements for tourists. So another point to mention about the tourist highway or tourism corridor of Uzbekistan, it aims to ensure the distribution of tourism income evenly. So we aim to introduce our villages so that tourists can see and feel and live with the people, local people, and experience the real way of life of Uzbeks or the nations living in Uzbekistan. So with the development of this corridor, we hope that every tourist can go to very remote places of Uzbekistan, and this way we would ease the burden from our main tourism attractions. So we, in this regard, a few projects are worth to note. That's tourist mahalla, tourism kishlag or tourist village, where we are working to introduce the benefits of tourism to local people, local population, and we have specifically created a category of let's say not guest houses, but when you translate, it's a guest house, but it is basically when somebody can rent his house as a hotel. So we have removed all the requirements of additional requirements from like when it is needed from a hotel. So when a tourist stays, if somebody wants to list his place as a guest house, so all the procedures related to registration, taxing, and etc. Are included. So instantly a person with a house in a village can become an entrepreneur. So he would be basically a not hotel but room owner in terms of serving tourists. Well, what it can offer for American tourists, it might be that American tourists will cook a pilaf with a villager in Surkhandarya, for instance, or make salad, or join a wedding ceremony of Kashkadarya, or even Nukus, for instance, in Karagal, Pakistan. So, in terms of diversifying the tourism, we understand that we have to. Well, basically, everything depends on infrastructure. So we are working to ensure that the next types of tourism would be gastronomic, ecological, medical, and obviously pilgrimage due to our great Muslim heritage. And thank you very much. I have finished my presentation. I would be very glad to hear your questions and know about your opinions and suggestions. Thank you for attention.